Canelo was in over his head. The same way you need to drown a bit to learn to swim. Floyd Mayweather was beating the Mexican like a red-headed stepchild, which is to say, gingerly. Canelo was the prodigy of a massive boxing family. He learned all the craft they had to teach south of the border. He'd racked up 40 wins in Mexico, then came north in search of work. For 12 rounds, he got apprenticed to the finest craftsman in the game. At just 22, Canelo Alvarez graduates from school with a lopsided unanimous decision loss. With the Mexican prodigy now thoroughly schooled, the young man can begin to learn how to be a champion. As always, click that like button and subscribe to stay up to the minute on all sweet science. 3 years later, Canelo learned the lessons Floyd taught him and evolved into a much more seasoned surgical technician.
Kirkland usually starts fast, he's very frenetic, very active, but he's also susceptible to knockdowns in the early round.
He stayed calm under pressure before turning the tide of the first round and dropping James Kirkland in their 2015 encounter.
Just as you said it, he's been susceptible in the early going.
Kirkland fought with unrelenting pressure, and in the second round alone threw 90 punches. Canelo learns that James was there to be hit. By round 3, Canelo found the swarmer's timing and clocked him with an uppercut.
Kirkland is, the uppercut caught him, coming forward.
Kirkland got up, only to get put down for good.
Always going to want to fight, never going to give up.
But his legs are not there. This time, I don't think he's getting up. Wow. Is he counting or is it all over?
No, it's over.
All over.
It's over.
He knocked him out cold. Referee didn't want to bother the count. They want to get the dot.
Canelo took on British speedster Amir Khan in what was a nearly flawless pressure fighting performance. From opening bell, Canelo's every movement was a setup. The left hook was the early point of emphasis. He wanted Khan walking away from him. When he started to, Canelo added the right hand to the body to take advantage. As the bruise appears on Amir Khan's rib, it is no surprise his left hand drops to protect his body. That is when Canelo drops the hammer. Canelo's next fight, in fact, this next 2 fights, would be era-defining clashes with Kazakh power puncher Gennady Golovkin.
It was amazing.
Golovkin steps in and down he goes again.
Golovkin knocked out his next 12 opponents.
Cossack Thunder. Predator at work, looking for the kill.
And as he collected title belts,
Legend of Triple G continues to grow.
his relentlessness earned him fans around the globe.
What are your thoughts about fighting Triple G?
Yo lo invité a que subiera. Como decimos en México, hay que dejarnos de mamadas. Los cinturones aquí se hacen a un lado. Hay que pelear por honor y por gloria nada más.
Canelo's game plan was to allow the power puncher to come to him. Canelo went to the ropes, which is a tactic only a top-level counterpuncher can make work. A question needed answering. What happens when Triple G lands the bomb? In round 5, the world would find out. Canelo, with his back to the ropes, throws a jab, and Triple G came over the top of it with a vicious right hand. Canelo shook his head and threw down with the power puncher.
Canelo took it well, took Golovkin's power really nicely there.
While Canelo landed some excellent body work, Golovkin patiently relied on a hard and accurate jab.
It's a close fight. Good jab work there. Right hands, and now very good work by Canelo.
After 12 rounds and some seriously wonky scoring, the fight was ruled a majority draw.
Officially a draw.
Well, there is a stunning outcome.
A rematch was inevitable. Sure enough, the rematch was held, and sure enough, the world was treated to a classic. The fight of the year of 2018 was defined by adjustments made by the Mexican. While the first fight was spent trying to rope-a-dope a power puncher too patient to fall for it. The second fight, Canelo stood his ground. With knowledge that Golovkin couldn't knock him out, Canelo was far more confident trading in the center of the ring. By keeping the distance shorter by not giving ground, Canelo was able to minimize the jab.
Before, it's not, one thing I'm noticing is that you're not getting the long jab for Golovkin.
Canelo's more balanced attack and excellent body work were giving Golovkin plenty of problems.
Canelo can smile now, and Golovkin with
Canelo convinced 2 of 3 judges to earn a majority decision.
And new WBC, WBA, IBO Ring Magazine middleweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
And with Triple G quickly aging out of relevance, it appears the second match might just be their last. Canelo may have met his match at middleweight, but ever the calculated risk-taker, the stumpy Mexican looked to the higher weights for legacy fights. Canelo saw an opportunity at light heavyweight, Sergey Kovalev. Kovalev had once been a unified champ at 175. Despite being an undersized 175-pounder, Canelo approached Kovalev with a plan carefully laid out by another brilliant mind. Andre Ward had come up in weight in 2015 to fight Kovalev. After a close first fight, Andre beat Kovalev decisively in the rematch with 2 main tactics: head movement and body punching. Andre Ward exposed this in 2016 and took advantage to stop Kovalev in 8. Flash forward to 2019, and Kovalev is still hanging at the top of light heavyweight rankings. Canelo follows the game plan Ward had laid out to a T. He patiently pressured the much taller Russian, keeping his head off the line of Kovalev's notorious jab. When he slipped the jab, he countered, mainly to the body, round after round. Kovalev was content to play patty cake, while Canelo tucked up in a tight high guard, coming forward. Kovalev had a hard time sitting down on his punches and generating his fearsome power. Or maybe Canelo's chin is just that good. He slipped, rolled, and walked his way forward, going to the body and wearing the bigger man down. But nobody expected that Canelo would be able to KO the bigger man. But 11 rounds deep, Canelo drops his left hand from his normal high guard. Kovalev reads it as another body shot, but when it comes upstairs, the big man shakes. A huge right hand left him tied in the ropes.
The new WBO light heavyweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo Alvarez is now the brand of boxing in the modern era. His golden boy ties, goofy judging, and odd steroid suspension are all too easy controversies for his detractors to hang on to. But this is all fodder for the casual fan who love the tabloid aspect of the sport. But the simple fact is this: when that red-headed Mexican climbs through those ropes, you know a few things. You know his opponent is going to be elite. You know Canelo can probably take their power. You know, in no uncertain terms, you are about to get your money's worth. And with the right kind of eyes, maybe you'll learn something.